What is up, guys? Welcome to Garage 23, and we got a lift. Yeah. All right, so for anybody that's new here, this is our 1998 Nissan Skyline. It is a GTT model that we imported ourselves from Japan. And when we imported it, we also imported a set of rear factory sheet metal quarter panels for a GTR. And that was the entire purpose behind this build, is getting to do a full GTR conversion on it, at least the exterior. So in doing that, we need to cut off the factory rear quarter panels. In one of our previous episodes, if you guys want to check that out, we had the glass removed in preparation for this process because the factory quarter panels are held down by spot welds. To drill out the spot welds, you need access to the inner seam where the glass usually sits. So all this needs to be drilled out. There's a bunch of spot welds all around these edges where the windows would be, all around your doors. There's a lot of spot welds, so this is gonna be a minute. All along your door seam on the inside. We also removed the factory side skirts because guess what? There's more spot welds down here. All along your wheel arch, down to the back, under the car, and up the back taillight panel. That's what we're gonna get started on doing today. We finally got time to start digging into this and start drilling everything out because it's gonna take a while. I guess let's get started. All right, so before we start cleaning up this edge, I want to remove all the plastics because they kind of stick out past the metal edge where we need to grind and scrape on. To remove all this stuff, first thing we're going to do is remove the seat belt. And you want to take off this little cap with some kind of plastic pry tool. And that'll reveal the 14 mil bolt. And then up here we have your little handlebar, which has little covers on the edges. Should be 10 mil bolts underneath. Then we need to remove the weather stripping from the edge here. Actually, this whole bottom trim needs to come off too. And so your whole door sill just has little pop clips on it, and that'll let you remove this all the way. And from here you should be able to see the pop clips that are holding this thing in. So I like to use the pliers that are kind of meant for this. You can't just yank on it and it should be fine, but being that it's kind of hard to get replacement panels for this, I'd rather be careful. Missed one of them. Alright, so two more little clips that hold it onto this piece, and that should be everything. Alright, next thing we gotta do is remove this weather seal, which has these little clips at the bottom. So just get some kind of pry tool or something. Try not to scratch up the weather stripping too much. I'm still trying not to break these clips. Okay, so there's 3 of them. And you just pull out the rest from these little brackets. We also need to remove the bracket that the weather strip was being held with because that bolts to the quarter panel. And this just Phillips screws or bolts. All right, so with that unbolted, you should be able to pull these out. And it kind of like slides into the next one, so you have to like slide it out this way. And they're pretty delicate, so be careful with these. The door striker and then the door sensor. Door sensor is just another Phillips. So that's all set. Just put this back. And the striker, that can be a pain in the ass to get off. I see most people use an impact screwdriver, which I don't have. So let's see what else we can do. All right, so we just got a number 3 Phillips bit. It's the one that's a little more broad. And I'm gonna give that a shot. small impact. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. So if you have a number 2 Phillips bit, I wouldn't recommend trying that. The number 2 is pretty floppy. Number 3 fits pretty good. It's not perfect, and that's probably because these are actually like JIC Phillips bits, but or Japanese standard. But the number 3 fits pretty good and it gets the job done, so should be fine. And with that, I think we're ready. All right, so next we need to get as much of this adhesive off the window as possible. So just a sharp razor blade should be good enough. This is why I recommend removing all the trim, because the trim sticks out slightly further than this, so it wouldn't really let you get the razor blade in here as easily, or you'd be damaging the trim. All right, so once you have all the majority of the gunk scraped off, you can go ahead and hit it with the wire wheel. I mean, you can try to hit it right after you get the window off, but you're just gonna gunk up the wire wheel quicker. So I think it's better just to cut off the majority that you can and then hit it with the wire wheel. So as you can see, once you do that, you can see the spot welds much clearer, and that's all you want. You want like a clear target to be drilling on, because it sucks to make a few more extra holes than you have to. All right, so now we're ready to start drilling out the spot welds. Kind of want to go over what tools you need for this, because there's like a lot of tools that you could use. We've done this for a little bit, and I think these are probably like the stuff you want to go with. So some kind of center punch. These spring-loaded ones I find are the most convenient. The other kind that you hammer, like they work too, but like usually it leaves too much of a dent if you use those, because you're the one hammering on it. These ones do a good job of like just making a small center punch without deforming the sheet metal too much. Then there's the spot weld drill bits, which you can get on Amazon. I mean, these work, but it depends on what you're doing. So if you just have like a small little project, less than 20 spot welds or something that you need to drill out, then these are fine. If you're doing like a whole ass car, I don't recommend buying these. They chip too easily, and they really only, like I said, get around like, I don't know, 20, 30 spot welds. You know, that's kind of pushing it. I would recommend investing in a good quality spot weld cutter. This one, I don't remember where I got it. I'll look it up for you guys, but this one alone was like $80, which I was like, ugh, it's a little steep for just a drill bit. This is boron carbide though, and this got through half of the S14, and we actually already did half of the other side, and it's still perfectly fine. So if you got like a big project, like 2 rear quarter panels, I'd recommend investing in a good one of these. There's like longer ones also, but they're more expensive. This was good enough for what we wanted to do. The only problem with this one is it's meant for a different kind of drill. There's specific air drills that are meant for spot weld cutting, and that's what this is meant to go into. So it has like a big flat section, which actually makes it pretty annoying to get centered in just a regular chuck drill like this, because you have to like make sure that flat spot doesn't hit on any of the jaws, because otherwise it'll clamp offset basically, and then it'll just wobble, and then you'll be like, oh, this thing's garbage, it doesn't drill well. No, it's just because that flat section is screwing up the centering. So just gotta make sure it's clamping on the round sections, and you'll be fine. There's also the like serrated hole saw kind of spot weld cutters. I've never been able to get those to work consistently. I don't recommend those ones like at all. Other stuff that you're gonna need. So every like professional body shop I've seen uses one of these instead of a spot weld cutter. I don't like it. It kind of causes too much collateral damage in my opinion. I mean, I guess if you use it day in and day out all the time, you'd be more delicate with it. I found this is good though if you miss a spot weld, where like you drill it out, but it's still, you like missed a little section of it. I found this is really great for that, because then you just come in that little section and like grind that piece off, and you don't have to sit there and try to like get the spot weld cutter to center like on a whole other section, and then you're, yeah. So this is useful for that when you miss a spot weld. The most handy tool though, I gotta say, is one of these guys. I think it's like just a spatula for like paint or drywall or something. The important part though is that it's a rigid one, because there's like different flexibilities, I guess. I don't know, there's ones that are labeled like flexible and ones that are labeled rigid. You want one like this that you can like hammer on. Usually be able to tell it's obviously got like a striking surface, and then it'll be like slightly thicker. This is fantastic for splitting like the sheet metal from the other layers that were spot welded to it. This is the absolutely indispensable thing that you need. And it's got to be, most of them aren't like super sharp. I recommend like really sharpening that thing because that helps even more. It can also kind of screw you over if you like catch it a little off and then it's like just takes a whole chunk of sheet metal that you didn't mean to. But I mean, on the whole, it's much more useful. And I think that's it. All right, so let's get started trying to drill some spot welds out and I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, so you want to get your center punch and you want to take your time and get this as centered as possible on the spot weld. That's why we cleaned up all the glue and junk so you could get a good view of it. And press down. Just a couple times. It'll give you a nice, clean center punch. And then you come back with your drill and put it on that center punch. So once we're close, then we can come in with the little spatula thingy. And then you want that sharp edge. You want to try and put that right between the two layers of sheet metal. And there we go. That nice clean little snap. I don't know if you guys caught that. That's what you want. So just rinse and repeat like 200 times. Okay, so we are not even like halfway through this, but a couple of things to note so far is this bottom section down here has 2 rows of spot welds. So make sure you clean this thoroughly. I came back at it with just some degreaser and a rag, and yeah, there's like a whole other row. And up here, there's one spot weld that you're probably gonna miss, and it was right next to the door striker. That's an important one because it won't let the whole panel move. But once you get that one, it starts to like free stuff up. So now, oh, another little interesting thing is one of the mounting points for the side skirt is just like a little clippy that was added to the wheel well. Yeah, so it just like clipped on there like that. So that's interesting. But yeah, now we gotta go at all the spot welds that are in here. So I really hope your guys' fenders aren't rolled and smashed together because that's gonna really complicate things for you. Luckily, this car has like been super clean and like well cared for. Like the fitment on it was like very daily friendly. So yeah, big thanks to Zap Auto for scoping this out for us and giving us the green light because it really came in handy. But yeah, we got all these to go through still. So all along here, down the bottom, and then up the back, and then back up to the rear window. So let's keep going. Okay, so we got all the spot welds drilled out, at least I hope. But we got to this part, and this is the most complicated part of all the drilling. So what sucks is there's a spot weld that's underneath this piece, and all the videos I could find of people doing this, they end up having to do that, which should be reversible, it should be fine. But I wanted to try and not do that. So I tried to guess where that spot weld was because it's the second one from the edge, and it kind of didn't work. I missed like almost half of it, and I ended up trying to have to chisel it out with the little scraper guy here, and went right through the side of the sheet metal, which is fine. It's part of the actual quarter panel, which we're removing anyway, so should be fine. And this isn't as deformed as the other side, so hopefully it works. I mean, it seems to be fairly loose, but now is the point of no return because we have to cut the C pillar and B pillar and try not to cause any collateral damage. So let's go. Okay, so we're gonna mark some tape lines just to give us like some kind of target as to what we're cutting. So on the B pillar, I was trying to aim like between these two little grommets here, and then we're gonna aim between those two spot welds. So go about there. All right, so that should be fine. And then when it comes to the C-pillar, there's a nice bit of space like toward the top here where there's like nothing you can run into. But the further up you go, the less like meat you have to work with to blend this out with the new panel. So kind of want to split the difference. I guess we could try and measure on the other side. So as you can see, this is where I originally cut and nicked this piece a little bit. But if you go up a little more, you see there's like just loads of room. So that is, actually it's right in line with this hole on the frame. So that might be a good place to start. From the corner, it's right at about 5 inches from the corner. So if you guys want to try and measure that out and use that as your landmark. I think I'm gonna go for that grommet where one of the push clips goes. That looks like a good spot too. It's like right in line with this void. So let's try that. All right, so that grommet is right under the tape here. So we're gonna go right there. I also am trying to stay a little higher up on the panel rather than down here, because we're gonna have to weld all this out. And if we have a wider space, that means more welding, which means more heat, which means more risk of warping the panel. So if we go higher up, there's less welding to do. That's my math anyway. All right. So that should be good. Now for some PPE. Well, it's moving a lot. We have a gas cap on the side. I should probably remove the latch thingy first. I don't think the gas cap's holding anything on, but might as well take it off. I'm gonna miss the little stickers that they put on there though. Oh, that was it. Yay! What do we do? You know, I was like, gonna be honest, I was expecting a lot more rust, but it looks pretty good. Like, wheel arches aren't bad. This little corner, a little crusty. Around the fuel filler is a little crusty, but you just scrape it off with your nail. This bottom felt pretty weak when I was drilling all these spot welds out, but it's actually just thin sheet metal, so not bad considering how thin it is. So that worked pretty good. You can see we missed literally any important parts. Didn't cut into anything important. All right, so that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for joining us and ruining our Skyline. So hopefully we can fix it. Thanks for watching, always do your best, and see you guys next time.